Don't get beat like this. If you primarily play pickleball doubles, then this video is for you. In this video, we're going to be covering 3 of the most common pickleball mistakes we see that partners make out on the court. When we think about mistakes that we make when we're playing pickleball, oftentimes we put the lens on ourselves. We think about, what did I do wrong out there? Did I hit the ball into the net? Did I hit it long? Was my paddle not ready? Oftentimes, the errors that occur when we're playing pickleball are as a result of flaws in how we're playing as partners. In other words, the mistake from one partner infects the other partner or results in a situation that is less than optimal for our play. In this video, we're going to cover 3 of the most common partner pickleball errors that we see out there. Number 1, we're going to cover one up, one back. One up, one back is just a really hard way to play pickleball, and you're losing a lot of points because of it. Then we're going to cover the slide over. If you play against lobbers, the slide over is probably hurting your game. And then the last one, we're going to talk about the blame game, because oftentimes what we think was the cause of the problem was not. Hello there, we haven't met before. Welcome to Pickle. My name is Tony Roig. Just finished doing some camps here in Dallas, and we got a lot of questions about partner play. And in this video, I wanted to communicate to you some knowledge so you can avoid making those partner mistakes. Walk around the courts at your local facility, and how often do you see this kind of formation on one side of the court? I want to thank Terry and Kylene for helping us put this video together. I'm running them through some paces here, and I'm putting them in some weird spots. Trust me, they don't play like this. This is just demonstration purposes. But oftentimes we see players that look like this on the court. So you have one player up and one player somewhere back here. Sometimes all the way back, sometimes they're here a little bit. Oftentimes they're in this kind of no man's land or transition zone position. What happens when you play like this? This is what we call one up, one back, or we like to refer to as islands of despair. What you're doing is you're playing as 2 individuals. We have one individual playing over here, and we have one individual playing over here. They're not playing as a cohesive unit. And when you play like this, you open yourself up to a lot of different sorts of attacks by your opponents, and they're just able to pick you apart. Here's a few different ways that your opponents can just choose to pick you apart little by little if you stand like this. Number 1, there's this huge gap that I'm standing in here, right? So if the ball ends up on this side of the court, towards where the camera is, where you're viewing from, you can just attack through this zone here. That's a really dangerous opening to have on the court. Another thing that can happen is the player over where you're at, from your viewpoint, if they know what they're doing, they're going to pick on this player, Kylene in this case, because Kylene can't hurt them. So they keep on feeding balls towards Kylene. And then what happens is, if Kylene breaks down at all, meaning she pops it up a little bit, then they're going to go after Terry up here. They're going to slam the ball at Terry up here. There's really not a situation where the player where you're viewing from is going to dink with Terry over here. There's no reason to, because they have the opportunity to go after Kylene back here, putting more pressure on this team. The player up here really doesn't have a role to play if they're just standing up here and one's back, other than getting hit with the ball. So instead of playing like this, what we recommend is that you play as a unit. In this case, I'm going to start with moving Terry back a little bit. So Terry, if you'll come back with me. So now, even if they're in this transition zone, in this no man's land, it's not that bad, because they're playing as a cohesive unit. Now, you can move a little bit in front, a little behind, depending on your read of the situation, but being pretty close to your partner in terms of the position on the court, front to back, is going to help you have a cohesive unit. In this case, we have both Kylene and Terry can't really attack, successfully from back here. It's not really a good attack zone, but it's a good defensive zone, and they're both in a good defensive zone, not allowing their opponents to pick and choose what to do. If they both move forward, relatively together, and acquire the non-volley zone line, now they're a formidable offensive force. They can also defend, but they're set up to attack, to play offense. So what you want to do when you're playing is you want to make sure that you're playing the best you can as a unit, and not, if you go back again, Kylene, not as 2 separate islands playing individually on the court. Now here's a bonus tip for you. Let's say you're playing in an open play or rec situation, and you're playing with a player who in this case is represented by Kylene. Again, Kylene doesn't do this, but represented by Kylene, who just doesn't ever come in when they return serve. So you have a player who hits it, and maybe they stay behind the baseline, maybe they come in a little bit, and you're Terry now. So you're trying to decide, what should I do here? What we recommend that you do is, Terry, if you will, Go back and join your partner, even before the serve is hit. Now, partner probably going to look at you a little funny because you're standing back on a return of serve and you're normally supposed to be up here. We recommend that you don't make it about them. So Terry shouldn't turn to Kylene and say, Kylene, you don't know what you're doing. You're messing up my game. I got to come back with you. Don't recommend that. Not very productive, not constructive. What we do recommend is that Terry would look at Kylene and say, I want to play as a team, right? I want to do what you want to do. And I've noticed that you want to play from here. So if you want to play from here, I want to join you and play from the position that you want to play from. Continuing the conversation, Terry could say, if you want to move forward, go ahead, Kylene, then I'll go with you. We're going to play as a unit, and that way you can avoid getting tagged by balls up here when your partner who stays back pops it up. In this video, we're covering 3 of the most common partner mistakes that we see out there, but there's a whole bunch more. If you want to learn more about how to play optimal pickleball with your partner, join us for our Unbeatable Partner Strategies class. I'm going to put a link up here and down in the video description. The second most common mistake that we want to cover relates to the first one, but it's very specific to the lob situation. And what happens in this situation normally is this. So assume that I'm lobbing Terry, who's over here in the blue jacket and lovely pink cap. So if I were to lob Terry, the way that it should be covered is Kylene over here with a lovely blue cap is going to cover behind. And then what this player does is, as this player goes back, is this player just slides over here into this spot over here. The problem with this formation is multiple. One problem is it creates an angle here that if Kylene hits the ball over here, Kylene who's back there hits the ball here, this player can just punch it through that hole there. You don't want that. The other problem is it puts so much pressure on the player covering the lob. So Kylene just had to run back, and she's trying to cover she's tracking the lob, has to cover the lob, trying to hit a decent shot, right? By Terry standing up here at the non-volley zone line, just doing the slide over, she's creating so much pressure on Kylene to hit the perfect shot. Because if Kylene messes up at all, then what will happen is Terry's going to eat the ball. So what you want to do is, instead of just sliding over like that, come back over here, Terry, please. So you're fine. Instead of sliding over like that, what you want to do is you want to move back, but I'm going to show you how. You want to open the door, close the door to a 45, and then head back in that direction. Now, normally you're going to make it around there is fine. You know, normally on a lob coverage, you're not going to be able to go all the way back with your partner. It's just not feasible. So moving back like Terry has done there avoids the problem of Terry just standing here waiting to eat the ball, putting so much pressure on her partner, Kylene. So if you want to fix this area in your game, make sure that instead of just sliding over to the open spot, that you move move back responsibly, the way Terry showed it here, to get back into a better defensive position. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. This is what we do on this channel, provide you actionable content that you can actually use. The third common partner mistake that we're going to cover is the blame game. The blame game is where one player does something that sets the other player up poorly, but then the other player is the one that either feels like they messed up or their partner makes them feel like they messed up. A friend of mine related it like this. There are some partners, and you probably play with a partner like this, where if you miss the shot, bad on you. If they miss the shot, well, that's just pickleball, right? So let's talk a little about the blame game. I'll show you a couple different examples of it. So here what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a serve and then a short returner serve by Terry. And then let's see what happens there, and let's see whose fault it is, right? I'm going to give Terry a serve. She gives me a short returner serve, and then it's her partner who gets blasted with that ball. And what happens there is, and I'm not picking on Terry or Kylene, they're just helping me out here, right? But Terry hit a short returner serve, but who gets the blame? Kylene. And Kylene and Terry wouldn't do this to her, but a partner here might look over and say, gotta get ready. You gotta get ready for that shot. Or this player might think, I wasn't ready. Being ready there has nothing to do with it. It's the shot before that, which was hit by Terry, that caused the problem. Now, this is not to say that we're going to blame Terry. There's no blame here. But we need to understand where the cause was if we're ever going to fix it. Another common area is when you're dinking. Sometimes there's a neutral dink that gets set up. And there's nothing wrong with neutral dinking. Sometimes you have to do it. But there are times when one of the players puts a dink in a place that creates opportunities for the opponent, but it looks like the player who missed the dink is the one at fault. Let me show you what that looks like. So here we would be dinking a little bit here. And then let's say I give Kylene a dink like this, and she gives me a really neutral dink, right? Then I come across it, and I really push her partner wide, right? A lot of times what happens there is this partner, so Terry there would be saying, oh, I should have moved over, I should have been ready. Got nothing to do with it. And what I really want to focus on is, again, Kylene would not do this, but where the Kylene would look at Terry and say, you got to get ready for that. You got to slide over. You got to be, that's nonsense, right? In this situation, Kylene is the one that opened up the door to the attack. Terry was the victim of that shot. And again, it's not a blame game on Kylene either, but it's an understanding that we're playing as a team. And sometimes what happens when you have a shot like that, that's a winner shot, it's your partner who set it up. And so we work together so that we rise together, we fall together, as opposed to, I didn't do anything wrong, this is your fault. That's what we're trying to get away from in the blame game. All right, let me show you the opposite of the blame game in understanding who's responsible for the benefit sometimes when you have a successful rally. So here we're dinking a little bit here, and Terry's going to attack me successfully, and then what happens is I'm going to pop it up, and then Kylene's going to put it away, right? So usually in this situation, our reaction is, nice shot, Kylene. And Kylene, that was a fine shot. But who did the work? Terry did the work. So recognizing the input, right, of your partner is super valuable. When you get in that kind of situation, if you get a pop-up coming to you, like something that you can put away like Kylene did there, but you didn't hit the shot before that one, look to your partner and say, hey, you set me up on that one, and that's why I got to be able to put that ball away. When you're playing doubles, the energy between partners is super important. The better you have, the more positive energy you have between you as you play pickleball, the better you're going to play pickleball. The blame game, where you're blaming your partner for doing something wrong, even though I'll tell you one thing, half the time or more than half the time it's probably your fault anyway, is not going to do any good for you. And start to recognize both the good and the bad that happens as partners will help you improve your play together. Playing coordinated with your partner is a key to successful doubles pickleball play. You can learn a lot more at our Unbeatable Partner Strategies class. I'm going to put a link up here, and I'll put a link down in the video description down below as well. In the meantime, I'll put a video here to help you continue with your pickleball growth. Until the next video.